Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us once again for another in our series, A Story to Tell. Today we have with us Mr. Donovan Williams Sr., and he'll be sharing some of his experiences with us and just chatting with us for a few minutes. Before we begin, just to remind you guys, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, our YouTube channel, you can hit the notification bell below, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell and press all so you'll be notified of all the future videos that we will produce. Also, if you want to be a part of our WhatsApp family where we send out updates and other important information, we will post the number below. So welcome again, Danny. That's gonna call it Danny. um, the
Kind of
shortening version for Donovan. Just tell us a little bit about your childhood years, Sir Donovan. Where were you born and your family settings?
okay, sir. Thank you for having me. Well, my mother tells me I was born at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital on
Yes.
August 6, 1962.
Mm-hmm.
That happened after her third trip to the hospital for delivery.
Mm-hmm.
She would remind me as a boy when I would give a little trouble. I still give a little even now. She would remind me and to say, hey boy, a long time I get trouble, long before you come here, I get trouble. She would
Mm-hmm.
have made two trips to Lining, as it was called those days, with
Yeah.
her little grip on her and her little bag. And the two previous times, the nurse would say, Mom, you're not ready yet. Gotta go back home. So that was what she would tell me many, many times. And on the third occasion, well, she tells me to go to the Independence celebration on August 6th. But sometime in the evening hours, early night, she started feeling fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to go watch fireworks at stadium.
Yes.
She started the fireworks at home. So probably conduced me in a grip and a bag and headed back to line in. And she said, boy, you got to be born in the delivery room, right in the waiting. So tells me I've been getting in trouble long before I came here.
Okay.
All right. We lived in Franklin Town. We lived at Harris Street, Franklin Town. Or that section they call Brownstown, the lower section of Franklin Town, nearer to Windward Road. And then I remember we moved to Maiden Street in Franklin Town. So I grew up until about 1970. We relocated to Hope. We have lived in Hope ever since that. I went to a little basic school that we called Folkup School, or Folkup Basic School. It was on, I think, Banana Street, that's the street on Albert Street in Franklin Town. Why it was referred to as Folkup School, a lot of chickens were in the yard.
Speak a
Later
little
reared a
louder. We're
lot of
not hearing you
chickens.
so clearly. Speak a little louder.
Because the one Folkup School was called because the lady had a lot of chickens there.
Yes.
And
Okay.
that's where. And then we moved from Folkup School to Franklin Town Primary School.
Mm-hmm.
From Franklin Town Primary School, I didn't get any common entrance. In fact, I did the common entrance twice. Didn't see my name in the gleaners when the results
Mm-hmm.
came out. Nevertheless, I wasn't daunted. I went on to Holy Trinity Secondary, and that in about 1976, my father decided that hey, they need to get a trade. In my time, that's what it was.
A trade.
If you
Yes.
weren't so good at if you weren't so good at academics, you would then need to go and do a trade. Well, learn a trade. Hence, I went to Tivoli Gardens Comprehensive High School, did like industrial arts, the
Mm-hmm.
mechanic world, and metal shop, and all of those.
Mm-hmm.
In 1979, I left Tivoli and went to the Jamaican German Automotive School.
That's
Went
Jagas.
there in September. Jagas went there in September 1979 and did my 4 year automotive course. Then I did my ULCI City and Guilds. Those are the exams I passed and have my certificates in
Mm-hmm.
those as a trained mechanic.
Okay.
Right,
So you.
backtrack a little.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
We have my parents, Hubert Williams, six of us. Valerie, me, Ricky, or Eric, Nadine, Denise. Oh, something I don't remember the other. Valerie, Danny, Nadine, no, Valerie, Danny, Ricky, Nadine, then he's doing 6. Yes,
Mhm.
that's how it goes, right? And we're all here except for Eric, who left us December 20, I'm sorry, December 2000, almost 20 years ago.
Mhm.
But we're all here going along, thank God.
So you
Yes,
said
sir, go ahead.
you went and studied the mechanic course at the Jaggers for the 4 years. How was that experience? You were introduced to that from your father, or how you got a liking for the mechanics?
Well, yes, my father, after coming home from the Cayman Islands, he worked for 7 years. He came home in the mid 70s and then entered the minibus business, as it was called those days. Started out with a little Nissan E20. And from then, I got a liking for motor vehicles in particular. We imported a nice, super, as they call it, Fiat motor car those days. When he came home from Cayman, 124 specialty, never forget that. So that's where my liking for motor vehicles started. Then when you got the minibus in 76 and Nissan E20 as it was called, I
Mhm.
even got more into loving motor vehicles and buses in particular. So from there you launch into different kinds of buses and I would be there working, collecting, riding. Then I thought to myself, well, having these buses around, I need to know a little about, at least a little about mechanics. So when they're done, we can at least repair them. So hence, I went to Jamaica and German art school. Before that, though, my mother would have spoken to her brother Garrick. He was a member of Penta those days. He was a counterpart director at Jaggers. And he told her she should send me because those days they only took on about 24 persons twice per year. So she spoke to Brother Garrick and he said, all right, send him along. And that's where it started. So thanks to Brother Garrick. I've always remembered it,
Mhm.
believe me. Yes, sir.
So, did you spend any time working alongside your father with the buses and thing, or you went and did your own thing?
Well, all this time, the only place I went to work as an apprentice, part of the course was you had to go to apprenticeship in some garage. So I went to Kingston Industrial Garage on Spanish Town Road,
Yes.
did my apprenticeship there. And then after that, just alongside my father. My mother would have told me many times it wasn't for all bus to reach a Germany because those days when the German government had shares in the Jagas
Yes.
school there, some of the students who have gone to Germany on scholarships to learn the mechanics come back teach it theoretically, practically, yeah. But I wasn't interested in going to know German. I just wanted to be beside my father driving, as my father called, old bus
Mhm.
and fixing the old bus. So that was my liking. And to date, I'm just a lover of buses. Anywhere I
Mhm.
see a bus, I gotta get close to them, look at them, check them out. It's just me. Buses
Mhm.
in my blood. I've been driving now over 40 years.
For
Yeah.
40 years. Okay, so they used to run
So
on different routes. Tell us some of those experience running on those routes with your dad and stuff.
yes, back in the days, in the mid 70s when we had the minibus, the E20, those days never had like road license. We were like robots, they call us robots. So we'd run Portmore, Kingston. Some evenings, like a Saturday evening, the load of guys downtown would say, hey, sir, we'll come. Can't tell you, go to Montego Bay. I would run a trip down to Montego Bay, leaving Kingston right by Beckford Street and Orange Street, like 5:36 in the evening, going to Montego Bay. Those days it take like 4 hours, 4 hours and a half to get to movie.
Yes.
I was asleep and then by the time the load and pushed me in, those days I could stand in the E20 without my head touching the top. I was so little bit, up in age, but very short. I don't know where that height from eventually, but they would load up all the seats and then stick me in like behind the front passenger seat. And this little engine firewall was right there. And sometimes before the bus gets to Spanish Town, I fast asleep. Well, they say, everybody sleep so much, wake up. And I
Mhm.
would pay my mind. I wasn't driving, so I'd be sleeping. Then we get
Mhm.
to Montego Bay to come back to Kingston now. They would load us, so they give us load for Kingston, but this was like a sham. By the time we get to Palmont, everybody said one stop and everybody come up and gone. So,
Mhm.
Father, I said, no, to come into Kingston those wee hours of the night and another few miles we can't sleep again. Comes all the way, but trying to keep up, we sing songs, we talk, we listen read but then I was asleep for those days. I guess
Mhm.
because of that, I don't sleep well these days. But
Yes.
then that, we ventured further, we got almost all the different kind of make buses, talking about E20. to Port Transit, to Encarver. This other, we had one with a back door, and that was a Peugeot, I think it was, yes, Peugeot, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went to getting some of the old JOS buses reconditioned. Them. We had up to four of them at one time. Yes, those big buses, and I had been everywhere. My father was with me.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, one evening I remember we ran in the back of a park tanker. One evening heading home after work to the church and ran in the back of a park tanker near home. Yes, and God is good. We are here. I'm here still. Ran flat into the back of the tanker when the thing collided, and I don't even know why I got out all now. My
Yes.
father behind me. The whole front was smashed. I remember when we finally got, well, the police took us to the hospital and thank God we weren't seriously hurt. But the next day, I remember them coming, they were coming for the bus. And I, as small as I was, I could not put in my father's driving seat to hold the brake of the bus that it was being run out into the road. I don't know. But God Himself did it. Because the
Yes.
whole front of that van was on the front seat. That van carries the engine under the passenger seat, driver passenger seat. It's like highest buses these days. But
Yes.
thank God, seriously hurt. Just minor scratches and bruises.
Yes.
And as I said, from that, buses. You went to drive JOTC for 2 years, between 2000 and 2002. Just
Yes.
love buses.
Sir Danny, most boys would love driving. At what age did you get a chance to drive one of those buses that your father had?
Well, uh, I remember living and counting my days to get to age 17 because you needed to be 17 to get the driver with the
Driver's
provisional learner's license.
yes.
And I was driving long before that. There was a policeman that lives down the road, or a retired policeman. I ran into him just the other day and reminded him of a case where he drove me down. That time I would take the car away or the little pickup what my father had. We had all a Land Rover. I just drive long before license. And he trailed me right to the gate one day and said, "Hey boy, come here. I'm sure you have no license to drive." He knew my father and thing, and he said, "I'm sure you have no license to drive vehicle on the road. We lock you up." Came right to the house, trailed me, stopped there and called out my father and tell him go and lock me up. But eventually gave me a chance and thing. But then I was so small. I knew
Yes.
if I went to the learner, the tax officer would probably not give me before the age of 17. But I was so little. Anyway, I waited and counted till I got to 17. I remember going to the tax office with my little passport pictures and the application form to get my learner's license. The tax office, I don't know if you would know, it was right at the corner of Princess Street and Harbour Street downtown. Yes, that building is still there.
Mm-hmm.
Went there with my little pictures on my form and handed it into the clerk. And all the man looked down on me and said, "Hey boy, how old is?" I said, 17, sir. And I'm like a baby voice. He say, "You're
Mm-hmm.
mad man." Seems a man, so you have to bring birth certificate home. Believe me, I want to came to my eyes. As I'm saying, oh my God, so many years I'm living and waiting and counting to be 17.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I went to him and told my mother, and she said, never mind. She gave me the birth cert and I went back and got the learner's license. Went to
Yes.
the examination soon after. Got my driver's license March 12th. Got the first general license March 12th, 1980. That's 40 years ago.
Yes.
And
But you could have managed
buses
the
all these
vehicle.
years.
You could have managed the vehicle
Oh, come on.
from long
Come on.
before that.
From those days, you see me, sometimes I see the big bus coming, you don't use the driver because I was so little bit. I would drive buses all over the island, all over. Many times police would stop me and pull me out. Come here, boy, you can't have license to drive a big bus. But I didn't
Yes.
pay them right. I always have a license. I have the original license right now in my job. I like a book,
Yes.
I like a green book.
And
Yes, 40
you
odd years.
eventually went on and purchased your own bus. How was that
Right.
experience getting your own personal bus and running your own transport business just like your father?
Okay. A little after my father died in 93. When he died, we had, I think, two of the old JOS buses. And I just literally gave them away because one, we didn't have where to park them. They used to be parked in the community center at that time and everything wasn't going in our favor. So I just had to get them out of the community center. And then I decided that my father died leaving an old Nissan Laurel motor car. I took that and got a red plate, PP, public passenger vehicle license for it and started doing taxi service. And then from there, I decided, hey, I'm going to get me a minibus. So I got a Toyota Hiace. That happened in 2000, right? No, I'm sorry, 2002 after I left JUTC. Taxi to JUTC. Then I got the highest at 2002. Started doing school bus service,
Yes.
transporting students from more into Kingston schools. And that mushroomed and bloomed and went so good that after 2 years we outgrew the little highest bus and I had to get that poster
Mm-hmm.
in 2005. I mean,
Yes.
2020, yeah,
Yeah.
2005. Right. So we've been doing basically school bus service, as we call it, from
Mm-hmm.
2005 until now. 2002, 17, 18 years, whatever it is.
Yes.
Right. Transporting kids. I enjoy driving. That's my hobby. I love to drive. I'm
Yes.
one person, as it were, hate to be driven. I love to drive. Yeah. So my
Um.
wife, whenever we go anywhere, she jumps out of the steering. If she see her vehicle, I
Yes.
can't get in the passenger seat before her. She jumps in the front passenger seat and leaves the wheel. She says she doesn't feel comfortable driving with me.
Yes.
Mhm.
We're wrapping up now, Sir Danny, but we want to bring it closer to this time now. In this COVID time, how have you been managing with your business? You know, schools have been out and everything. How have you been managing, seeing that that transport thing probably would be at a downward pace?
Well, truth to be told, it was not easy in the earlier part. As I remember vividly, when the government made the announcement that schools would be closed on March 13, 2020, I was like, wow, what do I do now? And for the 2 months following, I would sit on my veranda as I am right now and just be looking out. Over these years, I've been what you call, in my term, a road scholar. I'm always on the road, always out, not in. I'm not an in-house person, an office person sitting back behind the desk. So I sat for like 2 months and wondering, thinking, what do I do? The bus is parked right there, as it is, even now, 5 months after.
Mm-hmm.
But after 2 months, and thinking, we men think and think and think. And it dawned on me that I have a little highest van that I use as I call it my car, a private thing. And I thought, let me go start buying and selling some stuff. Grocery, I mean food items, go to the country, buy ground provision, vegetables, fruits and things. And I started that after 2 months and thank God. And I look back and see my poster bus parked in the garage now 5 months. I'll tell you this much. Just before the COVID lockdown, I was in the process of acquiring a new bus. And
Yes.
I was like, my bank manager who I've been dealing with for many years, he just wouldn't call me, promised to call. I went in person, made appointments, call him, leave messages, he just wouldn't call me. I was like, oh my God, this man not paying me any mind, not honoring my little calls and to give me a little look to get the new bus. But the Lord would have laid it on my heart the other day. I looked and said, my old bus parked there and said, my
Mm-hmm.
God, can you imagine I got that new bus and I have it parked here for 5 months and
Yes.
to have that big $100,000 to be paying a month and nothing coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So in all of this, I give thanks to the way God works this thing out. And I mean, I would like to encourage somebody sometimes you would worry yourself and wonder why this thing not happening, why it not coming through. Because I was really concerned as to why this bank manager wouldn't call me and to give me the loan. But all in all, I'm glad I didn't get the loan, believe me. Because I don't know what would have happened this last 5 months to repay bank loan and insurance and all of that, which of course that would have been part. But
Yes.
other than that, I'm all right. I'm a person who is willing to do any kind of job. The other part of it, what I do
Yes.
on some weekends.
Yes.
Yes, anything to get honest bread. I'm not afraid of doing any kind of work. Nobody know me, any kind of work.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. So with all in all, we thank God I've been coping and managing, trying to keep myself safe,
Mm-hmm.
considering the spike in the coronavirus cases that we've been hearing about.
Yes.
So all in all, we give God the glory. Thank
Mm-hmm.
Him for all that He has done for keeping me alive to see my 58th birthday a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
Yes, we're grateful and to end it, one proud Jamaican, proud Jamaican, proud to
Yes.
be Jamaican, proud to live in Jamaica. I tell people all the time, I'm going to the States for over 30 odd years, travel a couple of countries, but I choose to live in Jamaica. I have nothing
Mm-hmm.
against anybody who chooses to live in North America, Europe, wherever. No problem with that. But
Mm-hmm.
this guy chose to live in Jamaica, and this is where I live until I die. Proud
Yes.
Jamaican.
Yes, and you had mentioned your birth date, and a lot of persons might not be aware, but you were born on the same day that Jamaica got independence. Was it?
That is right. Hence, I'm so proud to be Jamaican.
So you're
Yep,
the same age as
independence.
Jamaica.
58 and proud.
58,
Yes,
58 and
sir.
proud. Did
Proud
did they give
58. Yes,
did they
dear.
give any special awards or gifts to those parents who had children around that time?
Definitely. I have a, what you call a silver spoon within the drawer right here. My mother tells me we got it from the government as one of the 200 plus babies that were born on that day.
Yeah.
Yes, it is statistically recorded that 200 and I think 24 of us were born on that day. They
Yes.
have me as being the first one recorded at Jubilee Hospital sometime after midnight. So I have
Yes.
my silver spoon that my mother would tell me, that's all you left here with, boy. When you left here, that's all you have, nothing else. So I still have it here. And she tells me also that she got 1 year's supply of baby stuff from Johnson and Johnson, Meat Johnson, whatever baby supplies, everything. Every week they would send a package for 1 year.
Yes.
So so it's not that I was born with gold spoon, it's silver spoon.
Yes.
No
Yeah. Almost. But a lot of person don't born with no spoon, but you were born with a silver spoon.
more.
So you're much
Yes, that's
fortunate
right.
than many of us. Sir Danny, thank you so much for spending a little time to just chat with us in this shortened
Mhm.
version of a story to tell, the COVID style. We just really appreciate your time spending with us. And thank you, our viewers, for also tuning in once more for another in our series of Story to Tell. Reminding you as you go, if you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, to hit subscribe below the video and also hit the notification bell and press all. And also, if you want to be a part of our WhatsApp family, the number will be posted below. Until next time, keep safe, guys.